Hi guys, I'm Peter and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a closer look at the mighty Ferrari 360. If you like cars like this, supercars, fast cars, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell. Let's bring it on. I am extremely happy to be able to make this video today because we're going to do it about the 360. I even dressed up for the occasion with the red and the logo here on the chest in case you haven't noticed. Look at this. But this car is mine and I've had it for 6 years now. I'm using it for events like weddings, company events, birthdays and so on. So this is how I actually financed it. And to be able to use it and going out and making people happy, it's just been a thrill. So that's the reason for me having this car. First up, I'm going to give you some general information about the car, and after that we're going to take a closer look at the outside of the car, the engine bay, and of course the interior of the car. The reason for me to doing a video like this is because when I was in the market to buy this car, there wasn't really too many videos out there of like a thorough close-up of the car. There were all these videos about cars blasting by and hearing the engine screaming and all that. But what I really wanted to was to have a closer look, how were the details on the outside and of course on the inside. So this is what we're going to do today, take a closer look at the car. Let's start with a little history around the car. Production started in 1999 and it became an extremely popular car. It started out with the fixed roof, the Modena. It ended up being produced in 8,800 units. The year after, in 2000, they started the production of the Spider. It came out in 7,500 units, and later on they came with the Challenge Stradale and it was produced in 1,300 units. This made a total of around 17,000 units, and that was the most popular car that Ferrari had ever produced. Being so popular, it of course had some impact on the prices of the car. Take for instance the 308 or the 355. They have increased over the last 6 years to more than twice the price, whereas the 360, it has increased but not nearly as much. One of the reasons why the car became so popular was because it was more reliable and it was also much cheaper to maintain. For instance, on the older cars you had to remove the entire engine if you wanted to remove something as the timing belt or anything bigger. So taking about 24 hours to take out the engine and putting it back together again, it became very expensive to maintain. Whereas if you take the 360, you can do anything without taking out the engine. But does this mean that the 360 is cheap to maintain? I wouldn't say so. Of course, it's cheaper than 308 or 355 and so on, but still it costs like an average, or at least that's the price for me. It's been around 4,000 euros in average a year. That's equivalent to $4,500. My sad record of maintenance in one go, that was like 11,000 euros, and that's like $12,500. On that occasion I had the clutch replaced, a new ECU and the big service. These prices, you have to consider that the cost of labor in Denmark are a little more expensive than they are in other countries. Here in Denmark we pay around €100 an hour for the mechanic to work on the car, so that's about, that gives you an idea of how much the running cost of a car like this is, at least in Denmark. Now I want to take you on a little tour around the car with some close-ups. Now let's talk a little practicality. I want to show you the trunk of the car, which is the front because it is in the front. So let me get down here, open it up, and what is that all about? How does she keep coming back? And how long has she been there? Guys, I'm so sorry about that, but I don't know this elf woman, how she keeps coming back, but yeah. Okay, let's move on. Front here, let me just zoom in. I don't know if you can get the proper look at it. I guess you have like an idea of how much you can fit in there, at least, and an elf or whatever she is. What you got here is a tire repair set, and here are the basic tools which I'll just show you. These are the tools that comes with the car when you buy it. I just want to show you. I think it's pretty cool actually. You got some bells, light bulbs, fuses, and then you have these set of pliers, and everything in here has the Ferrari badge on it. I think it's extremely cool. Don't know if I would ever be able to use it, or hope that I'll never be in a position where I need to use it, but this one is a pretty cool thing to have in the car. Now we're standing at the engine bay of the 360. I think it's one of the most beautiful engines in a Ferrari. Putting it on display like this is just a masterpiece. You might notice that the engine is not as clean as it could be, but I hope that you'll bear with me. Let's take a closer look. The engine in a 360 is a 3.6 liter. You can always tell by the model number how big the engine is. The predecessor to this, the 355, had a 3.5 liter engine, and the successor to this, the 430, had a 4.3 liter engine. The engine is producing 400 horsepower, and 373 Newton meters of torque. It will hit 100 in 4.3 seconds, and it has a top speed at around 300 kilometers an hour. This car has the Capristo exhaust. It comes in 3 stages, 1, 2 and 3, and this is the stage 3. It makes an amazing sound, and I'm gonna start it up in just a few seconds so that you can hear it. If you go closer, you might be able to see that there are openings here and here. This indicates that it is a stage 3. If it had been a stage 2, only one had been open, and if it was a stage 1, none of them would have been open. So this is the most noisy Capristo exhaust that you can get to a Ferrari 360, and it is a beautiful noise. Let's start her up. So, did you like that? You can tell me in the comments below. With a sound like that, it makes you think a little bit about the fuel economy. It's actually not that bad. And when I'm saying that, it's because you can have a lot of fun in it. And of course, it will be a beast on the economy, and you can be quiet about it, and then it will actually perform pretty well. I'm doing between 4 and 8 kilometers on 1 liter. And of course, this is just an indication of how much fun you want to have. Having fun, you'll hit 4. Being sensitive and reasonable and, yeah, I guess adult, then you'll be around 8. But usually when I'm driving, I'm around 7 kilometers per liter. So does this make me a semi-adult? Now we're inside the cabin of the car. I guess you noticed anyway, but I was just telling you. Let's take the tour of the inside of the car. Looking at the door, we'll find one of the things that are quite annoying about the cabin in a 360. It is those sticky parts. Here on the door handle, you'll see that it's scratched out. And when you put your finger to it, like this, it'll feel sticky and not very nice. You can have it fixed, or you can do it yourself if you're skilled at it, but this is something that all 360s does. Here, speaker, another speaker, and here you'll find the controls for turning off the traction control. You'll have fog lights, you'll have the heated windows in the back. For whatever reason they decided to do that, I'm not sure, because the engine is just below. Here you have the sport button. It firms up the suspension and it makes the gear changes faster. You'll see the gear change here behind the wheel. This is also one of the parts that will get sticky. I tried to fix it. I didn't really do a very nice job with it, so I'm gonna try again. This, an amazing view with the prancing horse on the steering wheel. You'll never get tired of this. The gauges, the one to the left, I don't know if you can make it out, it's the water temperature, and the one on top of that is the oil temperature. Below that you have the oil pressure. In the center you have the rev counter, and on the right you'll have the speedometer. When you set off, you want to make sure that the temperature of at least the water is hot before you even consider to drive the car. When the water is hot, you can start rolling, and then when you've been rolling for like depending on the weather, of course. But here in Denmark, I would at least have to go like 5 kilometers before the oil is hot. And that is when the car actually starts to run well. Until the oil is at working temperature, the car doesn't really drive that well. So you want to take it easy and don't push it too much. Here in the center you have 3 vents and of course the bigger sound system. I've never really used it. I consider it blasphemy. No introduction really needed here. Beautiful badge. Everything is kept in leather in here. And then I want to show you the view of the rear view mirror. You can see the engine and it's just beautiful to watch it. Of course, you'll be looking at what's behind you, but sometimes you just look in the mirror to watch the engine. And this is a view of the engine from the inside of the car. I can't really think of many cars that has a view like this from the rear view mirror. Now let's take a look at the center console. You'll find here on the top, this is reverse. Here you have automatic, and here is the wet track mode. I actually use the wet track every time I drive around in the city. It makes the car a little more smooth and easier to use. When I'm driving anywhere else, of course, I'm in manual. Here you have the controls for the mirrors, hazard lights and the parking light. Ashtray, and here you'll find 12 volt output. Parking brake. And behind this, a little storage. And behind the seats, I don't know if you can really make it out, there's a little compartment as well for, yeah, whatever you want to put there. So guys, that about sums it up for the day and the tour of the Ferrari 360. In case that you didn't see my last video, I did a review on the Porsche Cayman. I'm gonna place a link so that you can watch that, and sometime in the near future I'm gonna do a comparison between the two cars, so see which one is the best. If you like the video, please hit the subscribe button and the bell. Until next time, take care.